Hello, in this video I'm replacing an old Honeywell wireless programmable room thermostat. The screen has gone all weird and the customer can no longer read what's going on the thermostat. The digits are missing and you can't set the temperatures all the times, so the unit does still work but you just cannot see what's going on. Now I've seen this quite a few times and there's nothing you can do with this unit. Once it's gone like that, it's just a case of replacing it for a new one. So in this video I'm going to show you what you expect to find when you come to replace that receiver box and thermostat. I'm going to show you what's inside the receiver box because the wiring is very important that you get that right, and just in general what you will need to do if you're thinking about doing this yourself. I've also included the Drayton wireless receiver box just to show you that the wiring of these receiver boxes is pretty much the same for all these wireless programmable room thermostats. So this may help you if you're thinking about using a different programmer to the Honeywell one, like the Nest or the Hive, and of course there's lots of other brands out there also, but I did fit a Nest the other day and the wiring center was exactly the same as this Drayton one. So if you are thinking about using a different programmer, then this video will help you with that. Now if you are thinking about doing this yourself, then I've made several videos about the Honeywell T3R and the Honeywell T4R, and there's a comparison video if you're not sure which programmer you might want to use. And of course you should watch my video which is all about the wiring, because it's really important that you get the wiring correct, because if you get these wires wrong you might end up blowing the PCB on your boiler and that can cost you well over £200, and you're also going to need an engineer to fit it, so be really careful if you're thinking about doing this. If you're not sure, then call a gas registered engineer. If you are looking to purchase one of these programmers, then I have left links in the description below taking you to all the programmers I have mentioned, along with links to all my videos. My name's Mark Ballard and I've been a gas registered engineer for over 20 years. The aim of my channel is to help you with your central heating and your plumbing. If you find my video helpful in any way, then please give me some feedback by clicking on that thumbs up, and of course that will help others to find this video. And of course if you enjoy my video you can click subscribe, and if you want to receive a notification the next time I upload a help video, then click on that bell. And of course share the video with your friends. I'd like to say a really big thank you to everybody who's bought me a cup of coffee and left a donation in my toolbox fund. It's really appreciated and it helped me to make more videos which will hopefully help you. Right, now let's get on with the video and show you how to replace this thermostat. All the links throughout this video can be found in the description below, at the end of the video, or in the cards above. So this customer called me and said that they can no longer read their display on the Honeywell 927. And you can see that the display has gone all weird. It's now really hard to read any of the numbers or the letters on the display. I've seen this happen lots of times with this particular programmer. It seems after about 10 years or so the screen just seems to give up and you can no longer read what's going on. But it does still work and it still does turn the boiler on and off. You just cannot read what's going on the display. So I'm going to replace the old thermostat with the new Honeywell T3R programmable room thermostat. Now the first thing I'm going to do is turn the power off to the boiler. Now I can follow the cable from the boiler around and there's the switch on the wall. Now if your boiler is plugged in with a switch like this, don't just switch the switch off because you can't tell if that switch is working properly. Always unplug it, and that's the safest way to ensure that your boiler is now isolated. If your boiler is wired into a switch fuse spur, then switch the switch off and remove the fuse. I'm going to go back to boiler and make sure that when I push this button nothing's turned on, so I know the power is now off. If I follow the cable back round you can see it's wired into the boiler, so I know that when the boiler is off the receiver box is off. Now this receiver unit has been fitted on the wall upside down just to keep the wiring neat, but to make it easier for you to follow I'm just going to flip the image around so you can see it the way you'll most likely see it. So there you go. Now I'm just going to push a screwdriver into the slot in the bottom of the receiver. Then lift and hinge up the receiver box. Now you can see the wiring and the screws. Now something you want to do, whether you do it before you remove the wall plate or whether you do it once it's off, is to take a photo of the wiring. Make sure you know exactly which wires go where, because if you muddle the wires up there's a good chance you're going to blow your PCB or damage some of your other controls on your system. So make sure you know exactly which wires are which. Now you can see with the wiring here we have the brown, which is the live coming in, goes to the live terminal, so see there, L. Then you've got the blue coming in, that's neutral, you can see that goes to neutral, and then we got our switch wires over here, A and B. Then at the top of the back plate we just got a diagram telling us what those wires are. Now sometimes you'll find there's a link wire going from the live terminal around to the A terminal. That's quite common, and I see that a lot, and then you just have one wire going back to the boiler, which is a switch wire. If you are thinking about doing this, then I strongly recommend you watch my other video, which shows you several different ways in which you can wire these units up. Now I wanted to let you know that most wireless receiver boxes, they all wire up pretty much the same. Now this is a very common Drayton wireless receiver unit. Now when we look at the back box wiring center, we have the live coming in, we've got the neutral going out, and we've got the earth wire down there, and then we've got 4 additional connections here. But out of those 4, we only need to use 2 of them. And to find out which 2 we need to use, we just need to look on the back of the receiver box. Now we can see on this receiver box, we have a live and we have a neutral, so that gives a unit power. And then we got a 1, which is the common coming in. And then we got 3, which is the switch wire. So 1 and 3 are the connections we're going to be using. So that would then be our switch live coming in on 1 and our switch live going out on 3. You may also see them wired up with a link wire from live to 1. And then the switch live would still be coming out on 3. Hopefully you can see from this that wiring up most of these receiver boxes is pretty much the same. So after I've taken a photo or written down all the colours, I'm then going to loosen all the screws and remove all the wires. Now on the T3R box, there's a handy little guide right inside which shows you 2 different ways you can wire up these units. Now this is on a combi boiler, so we're going to be using these instructions here, but I've seen these units wired up in all sorts of crazy different ways. So I never know quite what I'm going to find until I remove that receiver cover. Now the new receiver box is very similar to the old one, but we've got a handy little screw now on the front here, so just undo that screw and then the unit just hinges up as before. Be careful, the top unit is the expensive bit, and mind those little pins because you don't want to go damaging those. So here's the backplate wiring connections. We've got a permanent live coming in, we've got the permanent neutral going out, and then we've also got this additional earth terminal. So this is a useful terminal which Honeywell has added to these back boxes. Then on the other side we've got a switch wire coming in the A, which goes through the switch, and then it comes out on the B connection. Just check your wires over, make sure they're in good condition and then not stripped back too far. Now this is 5-core flex. It does have an earth wire, but it's been snipped off just at the end of the sheathing. In the box you'll also find a bag with some screws and some clamps in. Now you may not know these clamps have 2 different positions for clamping different thicknesses of wire. Now I've just finished wiring this unit up. You can see we've got a live coming in, we've got a neutral going out, and we've got a switch wire coming in on the A and this switch wire going out on the B. Now fix the backplate back to the wall. Now when you come to clamp the wire into place, make sure that you clamp the white sleeving, not the wires. Don't go having the wires dangling out like this. This is not the way it should be done. So make sure you're clamping that white sleeving there. So it looks like this. Now after all your wires are fitted and you got the wires clamped in nice and securely, you then put the receiver box on, and that just hinges down from the top. Then you just hinge it down into position and do up the screw. Now we want to put the power back on and make sure it's all working correctly. So you can see the boiler is now back on again, and then you should see a green flashing light on the receiver box, like that. You then just want to test that the receiver box is working correctly by pushing the button on the front. The light should turn green and then your boiler central heating should come on. When you've done that, just push the button again, the light should go out and the central heating should turn off on the boiler. Just a quick note when it comes to positioning for the receiver box, in the instructions it says to keep the box 300mm away from the boiler or any pipe work. I wouldn't recommend putting it underneath the boiler because there's always a possibility the boiler may leak and then drip water all over the unit and break it. Now this unit is closer than 300mm, but it does work absolutely fine if it's a little bit closer, but always try and move it a little bit further away if you can. In your box of bits you'll also find a wall plate, so you can mount the thermostat on the wall if you wish. And you've also got the stand, and there's a couple of bits to put the stand together, and then the receiver can go on that stand and you can position it anywhere in your house. Now you need to put the batteries in, and this cover here just slides off like that, and then we put 2 AA batteries into the thermostat with the plus on the left hand side. Just before you insert your batteries, you want to just turn the power on to the receiver box and make sure that the green light is flashing on the top. That means the receiver unit is then looking for a signal to come from the thermostat when we put the batteries in. Now I've inserted the batteries, you can see the display has come on and the thermostat would have made a connection with the receiver, and you'll see that the green light on the receiver would have turned to a solid green. Now I'm not going to go through the whole setup procedure for this thermostat because I've made another video which goes through that in great detail, and you can find that in the description below. But you can see I've already changed the year, I've changed the month, I'm now changing the day, and now I'm into the hours. I'm going to check the time now, and you can see it's 10:59. So I'm going to change that by pressing the minus button, change that to 10, and then press the tick button, say that's okay. And you can see it's pretty straightforward. You just follow it through intuitively, and then pressing the tick button as you go, and that's it. That's the date and the time set up. Just a brief run through. If you push the middle button, that changes from auto to manual. When you're in manual, you can just adjust the temperature there, your set temperature, and you can see I've adjusted that, and that's set temperature on the top there. And you adjust your temperature up and down by pressing these plus and minus buttons. The big number in the middle is the temperature of the room at the moment. So the room is at 20 degrees and the set temperature is now at 25 degrees. If you push this button here, it turns your central heating off or your central heating back on again. And then whenever your heating is on, both lights on the receiver unit will be on solid green, like they are here. And now you can see that the boiler is also running. You can see that the central heating symbol is on. And when we look at the display, you'll see there's a picture of a flame in there, and that also indicates that the heating is on. If I push the off button again, that will then turn the central heating off. And then we'll see in the display, it will say off at the top there. And in a second the flame will go away, and then on the receiver box you will see the green light has gone out, and now the central heating is just turning itself off. So there you go, that's it. So that's what you may expect to find if you need to replace your Honeywell 927 RF programmable room thermostat. Right, that's about it then. So I do hope my video has been helpful to you. If you want to watch my next video, then you can click on the link just here. And if you found my video helpful in any way, then please give me that little bit of feedback by clicking on that thumbs up. And like I said, that will help others to find the video. And if you enjoyed the video, then you can click on subscribe. And if you want to receive a notification the next time I upload a help video, then click on that bell. And of course, share the video with your friends. And if you want to buy me a cup of coffee, I'd like to say a really big thank you to everybody who's left a donation in my Toolbox Fund. It's really appreciated, and it helped me to make more videos, which will hopefully help you. Bye for now, and I'll see you next time.